since telco came into being, it has been the agony of the Filipino people. Why until now, ang telcos natin is very poor. Far and wide in between the years of its introduction, ang telco from the beginning, or the telcos, right from the beginning, were already being complained of as not delivering the money's worth of the people. I don't know how to go about this, but I just appeal to yung mga telecommunications. So, can you do a better job? Is there life after this kind of service that you are delivering to the public? Kasi kung kaya ko lang na mag-isang salita, nandyan na kaagad, matagal na itong tapos itong problema ng Pilipinas. And even in the matter of, sometimes the operations or expansion of telcos are hindered by the so many requirements from the barangays down, and ito namang community. Well, of course, you have every right. Every citizen has the right to air his grievance. But maniwala kayo, wala naman itong talagang let the telcos do their job, allow them to build the structures, towers, if you may, para naman ma-improve nila. It's a chicken and egg thing, which comes first. So, your cooperation or the seal of the telcos to do better. Yung iba, well, for one reason or another, hindi naman lahat. Medyo, and of course, most of the mayors are good. I'm not referring to them. I'm referring sometimes to the locals, barangay, making it hard for the telcos to improve. So andyan sa dalawa, ako kung sa akin lang, kung madiretso ko ito. But one thing is, in the coming days, we have to talk about this. We have to talk about this seriously, actually. This has been bugging the country for so long. It pisses me off to no end, really, to be discussing this telco. Because ang karamihan, walang service dito, walang service doon. I said a chicken or egg thing. Whether it's because of the absence of the towers, they are not allowed to build or erected, or itong walang kapasidad itong telcos to invest more. Kung ako lang ang masunod na alam mo, Congress, I appeal again to Congress. I cannot fight corruption. I cannot find an answer for. I forgot that it was in my. It was within a gray matter between my ears. How to move people who are almost resistant to finding fault and resisting moves of government to improve. Wala eh. Bara-bara. So, Congress might want to enact legislation. You know, it's not, it has not been done not in the Philippines. It's only done in parliamentary countries where the Prime Minister is grilled during the question hour. But I want to Congress to know that I'm ready to appear there in Congress and discuss with them. But they should allow me to talk first, then discuss how we can cut corruption. Simplify the ease of doing business has some recommendations, almost radical. But I will try to begin tomorrow shaking the tree sa PhilHealth. Bala ko mag-reorganize and impose upon them a single line of authority. No more so many, wala namang iba dyan eh. There are so many tables there in an office, hindi lang PhilHealth, na who can do the work, who can process the papers, without really having a discretion whether or not he should be hanging on it, sitting on it. Wala eh, basta kanila, magdaan sa kanila na hindi naman kailangan. Kung dadaan man, if at all that the papers will pass their desk, that they have no discretions at all. So, ang sabi ko sa Congress, limitahan natin. 3 days, 3 days, 3 days. That's enough. I'm sure. Otherwise, you guys are not doing your work. I mean, 3 days, if you really put your heart into it and work hard, you can finish the job, or let us say, even 1 week. But yung months and years, I will name the office probably towards the end of the year. Yung na may application na umabot ng 2 taon, putang ina ninyo magbantay ko, mumurahin ko talaga kayo. I will name you in public and put you to shame that I am suspecting that you are waiting for some remuneration that is not due you, and you are not doing anything. Naghihintay ka lang ng pera. Basta kung may magreklamo, I encourage the citizens to, dito gusto ninyo, I don't know how long this program would last, but if you really want to have your complaints, you write me a letter and I will read it here kung sino yung nakahawak ng papel ng matagal. And maybe if it is inordinately delayed, I will ask the idiot to sit there, to sit here in this table. Tapos buhos ko tong tubig sa mukha niya. You better come up with an explanation that is really good to hear. Because pang wala na ko ng pasensya na bastusin talaga kita. Or Congress can call me and we will discuss. I do not have any qualms about you setting up oversight committees. That is good. More people watching the people's money, the better. Wala akong ano dyan sa sabihin ninyo intrusion into the domain of the separation of power, because it's legit. You can do it, and you can make it stricter and more hard for people to. Wala eh. Sabi ko nga sa, ayaw ko kung sabihin ko ito sa inyo, I offered to resign as president. Pinatawag ko yung lahat ng, sabi ko na, kasi nagsasawa na ako. In my years of government, wala nang katapusan itong sa mayor. But mayor, being mayor is just a small organization. Talagang wala nang katapusan itong corruption. Mahirap talaga pigilin. Kasi mga pastillas hanggang ngayon, even with the investigation or the clamor for government to shake the tree, wala. Sige, hanggang ngayon, it's being committed every day. No, can you stop it? You cannot. There is no way. I'm telling you, with my experience as a prosecutor for the Tanod Bayan noon, I was a special prosecutor for the Tanod Bayan, ang predecessor ng ombudsman. But at the same time, I was a city prosecutor for Davao City. I was having a dual role there. I was sent out of Davao City to prosecute cases outside of my jurisdiction in other cities. I toured Mindanao several times just prosecuting cases. Wala hanggang ngayon, wala akong nandyan pa rin. And it starts, even dyan sa yung land registration. You are really notoriously, even in the provinces, of sometimes the employees run to the mill of the grid of bureaucracy, mag-invento ng mga peke na dokumento. Marami dyan. I prosecuted about 7 itong putang inang land registration. In fairness to Secretary Guevara, he was not yet around at that time. Bago lang yan siya ngayon. But sa Muntinlupa, ganon rin. Alam mo, panoorin nyo yung sine. Netflix. If you do not have it, find your enable that as one connection with the internet. What is really appalling, I cannot seem to fathom, hindi ko maabot ang rason, why the drug syndicates of almost all over the world is run by people who are in prison, kagaya ng Amerika, ganon, di mafia. Itong dito sa Pilipinas, yun, galing dito. They do not really bother about, because in the end, they can buy their freedom and go out. Kaya sila na not so concerned of how many tonelada ang. Kasi kung ako lang, kung mahuli kita, dali na kita doon sa Bonifacio o sa madilim na lugar niyan, I will hang you. I will not waste the bullet. Mahal ang bala ng M16 ngayon. Kailangan ko pa ng gera and fighting this Kumusta isa pa rin. While we are suffering, busy tending to the sick Filipinos, wala namang ginawa itong mga buang na to kung hindi tell me, since the time season for stock sa Intramuros nakinig kami, tell me, was there a time that you guys were able to hold a barangay dito? Influence, yes. Because tinatakot ninyo pagkagabi na. Pero magsabi, physically occupy a town, even a barangay, the smallest, and proclaim independence or belligerency. Tell me, kayong mga Pilipino, kayong pumapasok pa, putang ina ninyo, mamamatay na lang kayo, iniiwan ninyo pamilya ninyo. Kaya ako nagalit nung sabi ko nga itong mga babae na ito, that led to that cry for women's Bisaya yan. It's an idiom sa Bisaya, yung mga ganon, yung wala talaga. Puro patay, hindi na nakikita ng nanay pati tatay. Ang doors itong mag-asawa, Sus Maria Josep. Hindi ka naman kailangan ng pagkaganon, alisin ko na lang yung mga national high school dyan sa malalayong lugar. Kung hindi pa naman pasokan ng rason yung utak ninyo. You have not scored a victory. Itong PhilHealth, I'm going to propose to Congress to abolish kung i-privatize mo naman, Sus Maria Josep, walang pera, sino insurance mo? Kung sabihin ng mga kapitalista sa insurance, kami ang magbayad, pero wala kayong pundo. That is why we are selling properties. That's the reason why we are selling properties, real estate properties in Japan. Because we have to raise money. Wala nang pambayad niyang sa PhilHealth na yan kaya walang ibang remedy dyan. It must be a surgical move. Talagang kung hindi, paalisin ko sans itong mga civil service. Create a new agency out of the ruins of that old one. Hindi na pwede, Secretary Doge. Hindi na pwede na itong mga tao na ito, they're already entrenched na. Walang mayari. Talagang either I'm going to revamp, consider everybody resign there. And if there is this structure, we can slowly, and yung disband yung ibang just a simple, I mean, as simple as it could ever be. That's what I mean. So yun those are my thoughts, mga kababayan. If I offended you with bad words, sabi ng pare, bad words. Kasi kami noon, ewan ko, marami nang namatay sa classmate ko. Kaya pa siya, si Dominguez. So, kababata ko yan. Noon mo, sa eskwela, Ateneo during our time. If you are heard or caught speaking in the vernacular, ah, jogging ka tawag. Jogging is 1,000 words after school. You are detained there. I will not talk and I will always talk in English. Maski na pabaluktot ka pa English ka dyan, kailangan English ka. I don't know if it has improved my character or not. Lahat kami noon yung makapagsalita ng ngayon yan, gawin mo sa akin, deport kita. Why should I not talk in the vernacular? This is my country. You have to teach me another way of doing it, but not as a sort of a punishment just because I'm talking in Visayan. Yun lang po. Telco, it's school time. About a good percentage of our studentry are really dependent already on itong mga Facebook and whatever learning that they could get from there. Pero dyan din ang, democracy comes with a price. Kita yung sinabi mo niya kanina, may nagbabastos. It originated from a parochial private mga madre. Ayan, I'm not, hindi ko naman sinasabi madre. Gagaling lang doon. I was being asked kanina by kami nag-uusap kung what sort of punishment siguro. If minor, we'll have to deal with a minor. Minor is a minor. Pero kung matanda na yan, padala mo sa Manila, sampalin ko lang. Yes, Secretary Anyo. Ikaw ang magsampal?
Nag-usap-usap na po kami nila. Senator Bongo po, nag-iimbestiga na po ang DepEd at saka ang Philippine National Police. At magbibigay po kami ng aming rekomendasyon. Maganda po talaga na tuluyan ang kaso ito para wag pong pamarisan.
You know why? It is the Facebook is as wide as the universe. Ang use yan, it can create, lahat bastos, create trouble, or wala nang magawa. It has opened a Pandora's box. Lumulabas na lahat ng lahat ng kaputahan na maisip ng tao, mailagay niyan. It has opened the Pandora's box, and I think that we should be stricter, more open. At itong Facebook naman, I just, from what I have learned in the past days, na pati yung advocacy ng gobyerno, tinatanggal. So what's the purpose of you being here? If government itself, Facebook, listen to me, we allow you to operate here, hoping that you could help us also. Now, if government cannot espouse or advocate something which is good for the good of the people, then what is your purpose here in my country? tapos yung left, ini-encourage kayo, then you believe in the left, and to the point of almost make a sweeping move to yung sa health, website ng health, military, we're fighting a war. You know, Facebook insurgency is about overturning government. What would be the point? I said before, in my eyes, what would be the point of allowing you to continue if you cannot help us? We are not advocating mass destruction. We are not advocating mass massacre. It's a fight of ideas. And apparently, from the drift of your statement or your position is that it cannot be used as a platform for anything. It's so convoluted, I cannot understand it. But ito na lang, tell me kung bakit hindi ko magamit para sa kapakanan ng taong bayan. Government cannot use it for the good of the people, then we have to talk. We have to talk sense. If we are promoting the cause of the rebellion, which is already, which was already here before you came, and so many thousands of my soldiers and civilians dying, then if you cannot reconcile the idea of what your purpose is or was, then we have to talk. I don't know what I will do, but we have to talk. Hindi pwede na, you cannot lay down a policy for my government. I allow you to operate here. You cannot bar or prevent me from espousing the objectives of government. No government in this wide world espouses killing or execution or whatnot. But you know that there is a left, the left is the National Democratic Front. And that's then they have the New People's Army as an organ of that. So, kung hindi tayo magkaintindihan dyan, mag-usap tayo uli. Is there life after Facebook? I don't know. Pero, mag-usap tayo. Mga kababayan ko, pardon my long speech. Sometimes I have to bubuhos ko kasi para maintindihan ninyo. Kasi kung hindi tayo mag-intindihan itong Facebook na to, I really do not know. But my job is to protect government interest. It's not even anybody's job. Akin yan. To protect government interest always. If you cannot help me protect government interest, then let us talk. We may or we may not find the solution. If we cannot, then I'm sorry. Mga kababayan ko, maraming salamat sa pagtangkilig ba yan? Tama, pagtangkilig. Bisaya ang kilid aside. side by side, pagtangkilig sa amin dito. At maraming salamat po. Magandang gabi.
Mr. President, we are recommending the community quarantine classification of certain LGUs. Ito po ay patungkol sa kanilang bagong community quarantine classification ng mga probinsya, highly urbanized cities at independent component cities para po sa darating na buwan ng Oktubre. Ang pinakamataas na community quarantine classification ay MECQ. At para sa isang lalawigan, ito po ang Lanao del Sur, including Marawi City. At anim naman po ang isa sa ilalim sa GCQ. Ito po ang NCR, Batangas, Tacloban City, Bacolod City, Iligan City, at Iloilo City. Habang ang natitirang 78 na probinsya at mga highly urbanized cities and independent component cities ay nasa ilalim ng MGCQ. This is actually the lowest community quarantine status, Mr. President, just before it progresses into the new normal, so to speak. Para po sa Iloilo City, ang previous classification nila na MECQ ay ipapatupad na lamang hanggang sa katupasan ng September. Ang kanilang bagong classification na GCQ ay papatupad mula sa October 1 at batay na rin sa updated data at rekomendasyon ng kanilang pamunuang lungsod.